can't even hear it running. That's supposed to stop it, so I already found one thing that ain't working. Huh. Well, maybe I should read the instructions, because it does say stop back here. Hold on, let me get in here. It's raining out now. It just started raining. All right. What does that say? It says stop, yeah, and it's not. So obviously, the ground ain't hooked up either in here or back here. And I'm not terribly unhappy. I can fix that. I just choked it out to stop it, which you shouldn't have to do. So I ordered this through the mail. I'll pop this open, have a look, make sure that wire's on there. And if it's on here, I'll make sure it's on back in here. All right, I like it. So no matter what the problem is with that, I'm gonna be very happy with this. The fact that I don't have to bend over to weed eat is gonna make a big difference. Lord, it is so humid out here. I haven't done a thing. I'm just dripping with sweat just standing out here from the humidity. And we got a thunderstorm coming, so I'll fix it, go inside, call it a day. All right, I'm happy with it. I'll use it a little more before I put the video up and tell you how I like it. This is the Echo weed eater that is brand new, and this switch is not, it doesn't shut it off. So here's the wires that's supposed to shut it off, and they're all seem to be making a good connection. And there's where it gets grounded out right there. That looks good. So what I'm going to do is just take this apart and make sure that the wires are connected on the switch. And it might be a bad switch from the factory. So what I'm going to call, I think there's a number on here. Yeah, there's a number right there. I'll call them and see if they've had this trouble before, or if it's something common, or maybe they got a bad batch of switches or something like that. But first thing I want to do is just double check the wires, make sure they're hooked up here. Let me get it open. Here's the switch. It's all hooked up. It's all, you know, solidly wired. It's in a sealed unit. So I'm going to check the other end where it goes to the coil and make sure that's hooked up. And if all that's hooked up, I'm just going to call them and see if they would be willing to send me a new switch. Or maybe they'll just give me some advice. But if I have to, I'll just, you know, live with choking it out to stop it. That's not the best way, but I need this now. I don't need it a week from now. All right, let me put this back together and open that up. Well, guess what? I found it. Okay, good enough. That's what it was. So no big deal. I'll put this back together and crank it up and make sure it works. Be right back. Good deal. Let me bring you up to speed on my Echo GT225L weed eater string trimmer. It didn't, when you pull the trigger, it didn't hop up into high speed quick enough. No matter how long you idled, no matter how warm you got the engine, it was not responsive enough when you pulled the trigger. And I know why they do this. They lean these things down as low as possible to get around the EPA regulations, or actually to comply with the EPA emissions regulations. And since the EPA emissions regulations are so stringent for these two-cycle engines, they have to just about lean these things down where they'll barely stay running, which really sucks. I mean, I know firsthand how the EPA can affect a business. And the trucking business, I had a 2000 Kenworth that got 6 miles per gallon, which and that day for a 550 cat was phenomenal. And then I bought a 06 Kenworth, same engine, C15, but the EPA had mandated that engine manufacturers install catalytic converters. So I got poor fuel mileage, terrible power, and only the EPA could justify burning far more fossil fuel in order to get slightly cleaner exhaust. Of course, that catalytic converter didn't last very long, and I was right up to 6 miles per gallon again. So there's a way around everything. But if they catch you, of course, the fines are phenomenal. You know, it's long. Oh, hell, my power. I hope I got enough power to do this video. I'll talk faster. Anyway, that old Kenworth, I pulled the catalytic converter out, took a long chisel, and I busted all the catalyst out of there and put it right back on the truck, so it appeared as though everything was normal. And I did it when it was brand new, or nearly new, so everything appeared to, you know, everything aged and got dirty at the same time. It wasn't like new clamps on old pipe or anything like that. So, and I had that up until 2008. And I put 575,000 miles on that, and nobody was the wiser. Anyway, I call Echo. I want to know where the adjustment screw is on this. There's no adjustment screws to adjust the high speed. You know, that's just a common thing, and everybody who has any experience with weed eaters knows that when you get one, first thing you do is adjust the high speed screw so it'll run right. And I also wanted to tell him that the ground wire was not connected to the coil, and I had to disassemble this to connect the ground wire up, and that's something they ought to let them know on the assembly line to keep an eye on that. Make sure that's done. So anyway, like most customer service, I think they choose these people by finding the most foul, most foul, horrible people they can find and put them in customer service, because that's what I got. And I'll tell you right now, I will never ever buy another Echo product just because of the people you have answering your phones in customer service. This might be a great weed eater, but your customer service sucks. The people you have, I called back because I got so mad. I called back and got another person, and they were just as evil. And they weren't the least bit concerned about that negative wire, the coil wire being not connected, weren't even the least bit concerned about it. And they would not tell me where the adjustment screw is on this, because I'm not an authorized repair service center. I said, no, I'm a guy who just spent $220 on a weed eater that doesn't run right, and I've worked on small engines my whole life. Believe me, I can turn a screwdriver and adjust a carburetor. And they wouldn't tell me. So I consulted the Oracle, Google, and I found two people who had encountered the same problem and found a way around it. So those two people are two people I happen to subscribe to, two really interesting and capable mechanically inclined fellas, 805 Road King and Double Wide 6. And anyway, here's the, let me turn the light on. There's the screw, but that's not what it looks like. What it is, they call it a tamper-proof adjustment screw, and it's got this black plastic plug in it. Here's the remains. And what I did was take my torch, heat a screwdriver up, stick it in that plug, and screw that plug out of there. So now I have access to the high-speed adjustment screw. That's the end of this video. I won't have anything good to say about this no matter how good it runs. Echo, your customer service makes or breaks you, and I'll never buy another Echo product. Screw you.